talk about Gen Ys. I want to talk about all the generations. And frankly, I don't believe that we're any much more different than we're made out to be. Actually, the differentiating factor in today's workplace is one single reason why this is even a subject of interest in the first place. Can anyone know what the differentiating factor? Because I have many people come up to me and say, Cheryl, how is this any different than when we were kids? And aren't all these Gen Ys just going to grow up and end up being just like us anyway? No, because there's one thing we did not have in our lives that they've had since birth, which is technology.
And here's what I love about Generation X and Y. They are the most creative, the most entrepreneurial generations we have seen in a long time, and they're going to kick our baby boomer butts. And I'll tell you why. Because they are willing to come in and say, I don't need to play by the rules, I don't need to abide by the rules, I have a life first and work as second. Baby boomers are work, 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 and then you die.
Many of you in the room are parents. Hands in the air for those of you that are parents. Okay? You want to know what all these little instant messaging acronyms are if you don't already.
The first one, LOL, pretty straightforward. Anyone? Shout it out. Laugh out loud. You guys are good.
The second one, mother over shoulder. If you have teenagers, you want to know this one.
Ah, parents are watching.
See you later.
Too bad for you too.
For crying out loud.
And the last one, where you at?
Why do boomers resist technology? If we're really honest here, and I'm a believer in bold proclamations, because we don't want to take the time to learn the new technology. We've gotten very comfortably of what the current stuff can do for us. So even taking 2 weeks to learn something is a resistance on our part.
Average tenure for a Gen Y in my research, 3 years or less on the job. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, how does that impact me? Well, I actually predict a future that's going to be quite different than what we have right now, and that is this. It's not going to be hanging on to people for 10, 15, 20 years, which has been the model up until now. It's going to be sharing people. We're going to see organizations, like-minded industries that are going to pool their talent together. Because Gen Y is bored, they get bored quickly, they want energy, they want training, and they don't care. They say to you, I want you to train me. We might be thinking, well, why would I invest in the training? Why would I spend all that money? Because you're actually building the pool of talent that you'll then be able to share with other organizations.
Can I tell you the title of my book, which many Generation Xers are buying? It's called The Control Freak Revolution. No disrespect. The title actually talks about positive control for positive gain. Gen X, you have had to fight for your spot in the workplace. You've had to fight for recognition from the boomers, and you've had to deal with the Gen Ys below you, and you're not quite sure where you fit. And so many Gen Xers have used strong assertiveness to the point of not being able to engage the Gen Ys to the level that they would like to.
So the creativity of Gen X and Y I am looking forward to. This is the most humanitarian generation. This is a generation who is willing to be creative in their solutions. And this is a generation who is not willing to settle for the status quo. And we are going to see massive change in the next 5 to 10 years in how we do business. And it's very exciting.
Gen Y wants to casual the workplace. Boomers, we made it formal. When I say casual, they want to be your friend. They want their boss to be their friend. Gen Ys don't leave their jobs, they leave their leaders. Now that's a heavy-duty responsibility for all of us in this room, but I'll tell you why they leave their leaders. They want you to be likable, they want you to be fun, and they want you to create an experience for them. Now boomers, I know what you're thinking. Holy cow, this is one high-maintenance bunch. Actually, it's not high maintenance. Boomers, how many of you were raised to believe that if you were doing a good job, you would just know it? Gen Y is saying, love me, love me, love me, tell me, tell me, tell me, show me, show me, show me.
However, from a generational standpoint, if I as a boomer insist that my values are the ones that need to be modeled in the workplace, I will limit the growth of my business. I will limit the ability for my team to perform at the highest levels possible. Does that make sense? So as a boomer, I got limited perception of what you should be doing. I'm going to push back against your belief system, against the Gen X belief system, against the Gen Y belief system, against the traditional belief system. I will push back, and it'll stop me from growing and being dynamic and innovative.
So boomers, you've got all this intellectual knowledge, and we need to get better at extrapolating what we know. And companies need to get better at helping the boomers to extrapolate what they know, and there needs to be reward and recognition for extrapolating what they know. So boomers, guess what we did? Out of our own psychosis of being raised with little love and little attention, we have projected onto our children all of the angst and love that we could so that they would not suffer the same fate we had as children. Now you laugh, we sort of go, oh, that's uncomfortable, but think about it, okay? Boomers, how many of you in this room would say to your Gen Y child, children are to be seen, not heard. I don't want you voicing your opinion. I don't want you having a choice about what you eat for dinner, and if I say something, you just shut up and do what I say. None of us in this room would raise our Gen Y child that way, but many of us in this room were raised that way. Okay, so how did we raise our children? Oh, my daughter Courtney, she's 20 in July. Courtney, you can be and do anything. Do not let anyone ever tell you otherwise. You are the best. You can work hard and get the recognition you deserve. If your school teacher gives you a grade that you don't agree with, go back and negotiate what you think you deserve. These kids show up at work and they go, I'm here. Love me, love me, love me. Because my parents love me, love me, love me. You say to a Gen Y, do this or you're fired, they look at you and go, whatever. Why are they saying that? Because guess what? I hate to tell you this. You may have heard this statistic already, but the last research I did 3 years ago was that the average Gen Y was leaving home at 26. Guess what? 2 weeks ago, it's gone up 32. I am sorry to tell you. So even if you have somebody off at college right now, guess what? They're coming back. Now, this is it's a social phenomena because you know what? I have to tell you something. As a parent, I don't want my daughter to leave yet. How many of you would agree with that? My kid's fun. My stepkids are fun. On Father's Day, you know what they brought over to the house? They brought over the Nintendo Wii. And we played bowling, and we did tennis, and we had a blast. Our kids are fun because we raised them to be fun. Boomers, how many of you in this room, you left home at 18, you're like, you couldn't wait to get out of there? Yeah. When I left, and my dad was a good guy, but do you know what his parting words were to me? Don't come back. I'm telling the truth. Don't come back. And you know what? I didn't. Now, I actually believe, and I don't know if any of you agree with me, that there's some merit to being told don't come back. Because what it does is it forced us, didn't it, to make our way. It forced us. When my boss said, do this or you're fired, I did it. Because I had to pay rent. I had food to get into my mouth. If you say to a kid today, do this or you're fired, they go, whatever. Mama's still making my bed. I'm still getting food. She makes chocolate chip cookies on Sunday. The point is, we keep thinking that these kids need to adapt to our way of doing it. And frankly, the influence they're having on us to change is far more far-reaching.